This is The Menu, a black comedy thriller film released in 2022 by this guy, Mark Mylod. Mylod is a master of social commentary. He uses shock and dry humour, two characteristics of the genres of the film, to create audience engagement that he then takes advantage of to present the product's messaging through the construction of the characters and themes of the film. The Menu was received to critical success, with different audiences responding to it individually. Members of the higher classes or conservative parties found it extreme and crass, their connection to the diners leading to them finding offence in the criticism of character and capitalism. Others, members of the working class, found it funny, relatable, and thought it a valid assessment of the state of the economic hierarchy. This is due to their negative experiences with capitalism and the ways that the upper class's wealth hoarding has likely affected them. However, conservative members of the working class may have had mixed views on the narrative due to mention of progressive themes such as feminism. Since its release, the ways that audiences read The Menu has evolved heavily. Reviews and video essays on the film are now commonplace, leading to many potential viewers seeing the film with a preconceived understanding of the themes, concept, and narrative presented. Due to this, many people are analysing The Menu critically in their initial viewings, with a greater focus on the social commentary elements of the film. Recent events, such as the release of the Epstein files and their connection to American leader Donald Trump, have also influenced how audiences consume The Menu, possibly creating emergent and unintentional comedy through the film's connection to these viral topics. These strong audience reactions are all thanks to the construction of the narrative and the ways that the director has drawn focus to the themes of classism, capitalism, and alienation through his use of media codes and narrative conventions such as mise-en-scène, editing, and setting, but most notably, Mylod's use of camera and acting to reinforce the character types that pilot the narrative story arc.
We can do a cheeseburger.
Mark Mylod's use of camera angles give the audience an understanding of the power hierarchy within the Menu's narrative, namely in relation to Julian Slowik. Slowik, played by Ralph Fiennes, is framed with medium-low angles, contrasting with the higher angles that we frequently view the customers through. This is a technique used by directors to give a character a sense of power over another through manipulation of the actor's eye lines. With use of the eye line film theory, Mylod is able to create a juxtaposition between the implied power of the working class characters and that of the pretentious rich diners. In doing so, Mylod exposes the expected connection between economic status and power to confront the capitalist ideology that causes Slowik's loss of passion. When talking about media making techniques in the construction of a power hierarchy, we should really talk about this scene.
That was a total accident.
The positioning of Slowik in this shot frames the shocked reaction of Tyler, who is trying to figure out what to do before his mistake can be seen by his idol, Slowik. In doing this, Mylod shows us how Tyler's destructive obsession with Slowik alienates the two in a parasocial relationship of the likes we see every day between content creators and fans. Although this is not unusual, as Slowik is a content creator and Tyler is his fan, the irony of the elitist rich being so disconnected that they idolize the working class is a powerful point to discuss. Tyler's derealisation of the struggles of the service workers he respects so much is a leading element in the construction of his enthusiastic amateur and delusional fanboy character types, and the connection of those character types to the level of disassociation frequently present in those who are born into the upper echelons of society. This derealisation of struggle is an accurate reflection of the celebrities who posted about COVID-19, complaining about how bad their lockdown lives were while, sitting in a private jet. Tyler's character represents these real-world examples of the upper class's disconnection from the average worker so well that the working class hate him, as they did many celebrities during the early days of the coronavirus. Alright, let's move on. Slowik and Margot and their connection is crucial in the Menu's representation of the class divide and the alienation it creates. Over the course of the film, they both undergo character development as their relationship evolves, giving us a glimpse into the significance of working class relationships in the communities of the upper 1%. The best way to talk about this is to look at this scene, and how Mylod presents the dialogue between the characters within it. Let's take a look at how Mylod's use of camera and acting allows him to elegantly reveal information by showing and not telling.
Who are you?
I am Margot.
You shouldn't be here tonight.
By observing between shots in their dialogue, we can see that the two share an equal eye line, something we have not yet seen between Slowick and a customer. This equal eye line is representative of the two characters' equality in the class structure and Slowick's respect for Margot's organic character. The fact we have not seen Slowick share an equal eye line with any of his other customers reflects his alienation of them due to their actions causing his loss of passion.
You represent the ruin of my art and my life.
Slowick's love for food was whittled away by the capitalist construction of the food industry and the commodification of the art form that took place over his time working in fine dining. Through Mylod's presentation of Slowick's steady loss of passion for his art, Mylod brings attention to the prioritization of economic growth in art industries through use of well-known Marxist ideologies. In doing so, Mylod also shows how Slowick played a part in the perpetuation of this capitalist commodification he despises so much by continuing to feed into the elitist culture developing around his menus. Moving forward, there is of course the other side of capitalism, those who prosper rather than struggle. When talking about character development and accountability, there is no one better to talk about than the pretentious adulterer, Richard Leibrandt. It is established in the rising action of the menu that Richard hired Margot for her services. Despite the event's supposed significance to Richard's reputation, we learn not of it through Richard, rather hear about it in a conversation between Margot and Slowick. This withholding of Richard's prominent character flaw contrasts with the confessions of the other diners.
They're restaurants. That I reviewed that all closed.
Hey guys, what the fuck? Are these?
What school did you go to?
Brown?
Student loans? No. I'm sorry, you're dying.
As we only learn of Richard's questionable past from events and characters he has no control over. Besides, Richard's character becomes truly interesting not when information is revealed about him, but when he is confronted about that information. And of course, the best way to confront someone about their infidelity is to cut off their ring finger. After the finger is severed, Richard's marriage ring, a motif of union and trust, drops to the floor, bloodied. The spinning of the ring has been framed with the low depth of field that Mylod uses to emphasize the red of the blood that symbolizes Richard's betrayal of his marriage. This use of mise-en-scène and camera confirms Richard's faithlessness through symbolic and environmental storytelling. Again, information confirmed not by the man himself, but by people and events around him. Even after his ring finger is cut off as a confrontation of his infidelity, Richard refuses to acknowledge the events with his wife, Anne. Margot ends up confirming the events, pushing the idea that it is the role of the working class to hold the upper class to accountability.
You know my husband? Yeah.
This inability to admit flaws due to the possibility of a damaged reputation is a characteristic of Richard's conservative rich character type, and a criticism of the rigid ideology that capitalism promotes. Richard's marriage with Anne is actually a commentary on how marriage within the elite is considered an investment, a connection to the Marxist criticism that bourgeois marriage is a matter of business rather than affection, and that capitalism promotes such a mindset.
I don't speak Brazilian.
Mark Mylod's 2022 film, The Menu, takes advantage of camera and acting to create the character types that are crucial in the construction of the film's narrative. Through use of the passionless artist Slowick, his bonds with the optimistic working class member Margot, and her connections to the pretentious liar Richard, Mylod explores the different ways that capitalist ideologies affect society in a criticism based in Marxist theory. Despite its absurdity, The Menu really does make an accurate analysis of the state of capitalist society today.